Hello, welcome back to Three Talking Rabbits. I'm Gail. We have four things to talk about today. We have the end of third quarter homeschool report. We have personal health update. We have critter report. And we have crafty type stuff, which is all fiber today. So first up, we'll do the homeschool thing. It is the end of the third quarter for third grade for my son. And I had promised you guys like a review of curriculum and stuff, and I will get to doing Logic of English B and Torchlight 2 for both of them. We are not done with Torchlight 2 yet, and I kind of want to finish that up towards the end of the year so that'll be more like a summer thing when everybody's really looking for curriculum. Oh, he did pretty well this quarter, and we did a lot. And the thing I wanted to talk about most, aside from like what he did, is record keeping. Because a lot of us homeschoolers absolutely stink at that. So I keep 2 sets of books. The first one is the long form, which generally is 16 pages. Sometimes I can get it down to 12 if I squeeze subjects. But it has a lot of information. It's everything that we have done. If we read a book, the book gets written down in here. If we visit a website, the website gets written down in here. If we go to a YouTube channel, the episode and the channel get written down in here. I'll take a picture and post that, like, here. For his school district that we're in, they want to see certain things, which is technically more than what New York State regulations and requirements allow them to ask for. Like, they can ask for it, you just don't have to give it. However, I do want to have good relationship with our school district, or as good as it can be, being a homeschooler, you know, like they're great to work with. It's not a problem. So I do keep 2 sets of books. I have my long form thing, and this is really for us so that I know what we covered that quarter. And so that I can look back on things and say, you know, like, test his knowledge later. Okay, well, we talked about cloud types. Can you identify the different cloud types and where they happen and why they happen and what's going to happen when you see that cloud type? Because I know that we have gone over it. So this quarter, I was really bad at record keeping, and I ended up having to go back through the curriculum and make this thing up over again, because as of February, middle of February, I did not open that document once. It was bad. So it took me 2 days to reconstruct this. Don't do that to yourself. That's just not fun. You know, every day you do something, write down what you did. There is also a short form that I send to the district, and that is usually 1 or 2 pages. Because he's in elementary school in New York, we have the option of doing what's called a narrative report, which just basically says how the child did in various subjects. And it can be as simple, like it can be super simple. It looks something like that, okay? And all of his grades this quarter were passing because I did not actually go back through his workbooks and grade them before the quarterly report was due. It's not that he didn't do the work, he did. It's just that I didn't grade it. And I know he passed everything because when I did the quizzes and the tests and stuff like that, they were all like the upper 80s to lower 90s. So he's doing fine. But the narrative evaluation, like arithmetic, says progressing well, demonstrates good understanding. The English language says excellent work. Writing says struggling but showing improvement. History, loves it, remembers it, understands it. Second language, German, which is not required in New York State. Okay, you do not have to include this. Satisfactory progress. Okay, just because he hasn't really been doing it all that much. But it's not required, so we don't even have to technically put it on. One thing that you do have to do in New York State is say what kind of end of year final assessment you're going to do. And until 4th grade, you do not have to do standardized tests, but as of 4th grade, every other year you have to do a standardized test. And most people choose 4th grade as their other year, and then 5th grade as their first standardized test option. But what I wanted him to do was to take the CAT test this year to learn how to take the test. It was fairly inexpensive. I got it on sale for like 25 bucks. So we'll have him take that next month and send it in and see how he does with it. I fully expect him to bomb the writing section on it. But I think he's going to do well everywhere else. We'll see. Maybe he'll surprise me and do great. So this first page right here is what I sent in for his second quarterly report. So when I have time, what I do is I have his percentage grades written down and the little narrative that's like a blurb for each and everything. It's like a sentence to a paragraph depending. And there's like a summary of all of the stuff that we have done. If I'm out of time, the district gets the big thing. And I don't know if they appreciate it or not. I'm not going to call and ask. But he did math games, the website, for a lot of his math this quarter, and he did great. And he really got the concepts, and it was a lot of fun for him, and he's doing much better since he was been playing on math games. For reading, writing, spelling, ELA, he's actually becoming more interested in spelling things correctly because he has this game called Scribble Knots where he has to spell things correctly. He has been doing independent reading, which is great. He's got the Mickey's Young Readers Library series, and he's been reading that. He's been reading level 3 readers, no problems, so that's great. Yay, Logic of English. We have also been doing Duolingo for German, about once a week. You're supposed to do it every day, but he does it like once a week. For geography, he's really into the whole maps. We did volcanoes, ice ages, formation of the Appalachian Mountains, various places with, we tie it into history and stuff like that. So that's been fun. We've been using Curiosity Chronicles for history, and they're wonderful. We've also been using Torchlight 2 because they have a bunch of companion books that go along with Curiosity Chronicles. We did not buy the companion books for Curiosity Chronicles. We sort of hit our budget limit on that, and I was like, no, we're done. We do a lot of YouTube companions for that, so it's okay. We went over Helen Keller. We did Native American history from Turtle Island. If you want a good comprehensive book for North American pre-Columbian history, or not pre-Columbian, pre-Columbus history, Turtle Island is awesome. Has some great projects in there. Highly recommend that book. We did the history of Braille with Louis Braille. Lots of Mesoamerican stuff, like the Mesoamerican ball games and things like that. We did lacrosse stuff with the Seneca. And for science, we did a lot of physics. He went back to more interest in fossils and local fossils, and we went fossil hunting. We found a really interesting one. I have no idea what it is, but it was cool. So this one has a really interesting thing happening. It's got a groove here, and then it's got these little wormhole things happening. So like there. Let's take a look at it in profile. I'll do it against the coat. There's definitely something going on with that one. That one's kind of cool. He did The New Ocean is a book that Torchlight recommends, and it has a lab on how to clean up oil spills. So that was really cool. And we used Angora rabbit fluff, feathers from the chickens, and there was something else that we used that like these animals were getting wet with the oil and you had to clean up the oil. So that was really cool. We did a meteorite drop for our Maybeorite project. We have a worm bin. We had snail observations, cloud and water cycle posters. And then we finally finished up our Winogradsky column, and it can go away now. For health, we've been doing mostly nutrition, but he had a meal planning thing, and also puberty, athlete's foot. There were a few other like question-based things that he had that we went over how they worked. We did a little bit more on in like infectious diseases. And for music, we've been doing stories from the orchestra, stories from the opera, lives of the musicians, and Philadelphia Chickens, which I believe is from Torchlight 1. It might be from Torchlight 2, but I think it's Torchlight 1. And we have gone a lot on YouTube with like all the different instruments, which fits in with stories from the orchestra. He's also been playing a bugle horn, and he's actually got some pretty good notes out of it. This quarter he wants to focus on singing, and we're trying to get him into either singing lessons or a children's choir, and that'll depend on what days they're meeting. For the visual arts, he did some sculptures. He did some carving and soapstone carving, which I showed last time. He made a medieval style reliquary, which he's keeping his little stone treasures in. We've done some paper collage, scratch drawings with crayons, which I showed last time, a little bit of nature journaling, some watercolor paintings. We tried to go snowshoeing. I think I talked about that last time. That's when we found the meteorite. He has started swimming lessons for fourth quarter. Last night was his first swimming lesson. That was pretty cool. And that's about it for his third quarter. So that's pretty good stuff there. I'm very, very happy with how he's done. Okay, go ahead.
This rock is granite. It doesn't have any fossils in it.
Why doesn't granite have any fossils in it?
It's not a sedimentary rock, so it doesn't have any fossils.
Yep, because it formed deep underground, right?
Yes.
Yep. Critter report. We got chicks today in the mail. I ordered them through Tractor Supply, and the tracking said that they were in Minnesota for a very long time, and I was like, why are my chicks in Minnesota? So when I read the Tractor Supply website, I thought that the chicks were coming from Ohio. And it would say processing. And I think it said that for almost 2 weeks. And finally, your chicks have shipped, and they're in St. Paul, Minnesota. And I was like, what are my chicks doing in St. Paul, Minnesota? Well, apparently it ships from whatever distributor has them available, I guess. So I was very worried about my chicks. It said that they were supposed to be coming tonight at 7 o'clock, which would have been well within the 72 hours, except that my post office would be closed, and then it would be past that by tomorrow morning when it would be open again. And I was like, ah! And they got here this morning, and so I went down and got them. And there are 30 perfect little chicks in the basement. Mr. Thomas Kitten was delighted that there were chicks in the basement, and he wanted to eat them right away. And I told him he's not allowed to eat them until 2 months from now, when they will be bigger than him. And he's like, but I don't believe you, Mama. And he showed me where all the little holes were that he could squeeze his little fingers in and attack those chicks, so we blocked all those up. Anyway, the chick brooder is secure now, hopefully. The chicks are happy. They are fed, they are watered, they are warm. I put my hand on them, and they all like try to run underneath my hand like it's a mama chick or a mama hen. And yeah, anyway, it's very cute. In the not so cute news, Sally Bird is not doing well. I did not count my chickens correctly about a week ago, and she was out all night. She got attacked by something. She's got a big wound across her back, and her belly is not doing terribly well. She has eaten, she has drank every day, at least a tiny, tiny bit. She has pooped a tiny, tiny bit. There have been no eggs. I'm worried she's I'm worried that she's egg bound or stopped up on the inside. I have given her oil enemas. I have given her the warm bath. I have not tried massaging her abdomen because I'm afraid she has internal injuries. She's kind of at the point right now where I'm like, her comb is still red, but I'm like 50-50 on trying to save her and putting her down. It's like she gets up and she walks around a little bit and then she goes and she sits down again. Like she wants to be around the other chickens when it's warm and sunny out, but she has not tried to escape the bunny house, and she's actually like underneath the heat lamp and stuff. So I'm very hesitant to just call it quits and put her down, because like chickens are sort of like cats, where if it's not a truly mortal injury, they will recover. On the other hand, how much do I put my bird through, trying to save her? Like, if I were more towards, yeah, she's not going to recover, I would just put her down. It just sucks. So count your chickens every night. Make sure that you actually lay your eyes on them. I thought she was like behind the winter cardboard because I thought I saw it move, and she wasn't. So yeah. Bird flu. I don't know how much you guys know about the avian influenza, but it comes in with the wild migrating birds. Quack quack. Have a bit of dookie on your yard and all your birds die. There have been several people who have lost their entire flocks to bird flu in the surrounding counties. None in Livingston County yet. I have made the decision not to keep my birds confined. And I'm not entirely happy about this decision. But because we have ticks and their main job is to eat the ticks, they can't do that if they're confined. So I am balancing a known and present danger, which is the ticks and Lyme disease, with a potential danger, which is avian influenza. Neither one of these things are a fun idea, okay? I would say if you have the capability of keeping your birds inside, you should keep your birds inside, especially if they're just like egg layer pets. If your property is not crawling with ticks like ours is, keep your birds inside. I mean, if it weren't for the ticks, I would have my birds confined right now. And as for the ducks, like, I'm half at put them in the freezer, and I'm half at I really want them to clear the garden for us. Yeah, it's a thing. So, bunnies! Skiddly-Doo is pregnant. She got out with Mr. Max, and they had themselves a little tryst, and they were both clipped down nice and short, so he could, and so he did. So in probably about a week and a half to 2 weeks, we are going to have babies. Did not want babies. And I hope she does okay with it, because she is an older rabbit. Yeah. Okay, with that, we're going to move on into fiber, because we're already talking about bunnies. This is Angora goat with Angora rabbit. I am super thrilled with this. This is my Lumpy Lumpkins, who has passed away. It's very soft. Mixed with a goat. I don't remember who dyed the fiber for the goats. I bought it at the Fiber Festival a couple years ago. So I've been working on this for a few years. And it's just a hand spindle. It's a medievally kind of thing. I have been playing on Edith's drum carder. My friend Edith let me borrow her drum carder. Isn't that fantastic? This is the combing waist. Or not the combing waist, but the card waist. I'm going to spin that up. That's like a birthday cake. This was a roving that my husband got for me for Christmas from Living Dreams Yarn. Of course, he bought it off of Amazon. And it is merino. So 60% merino, 40% sari silk. And then I carded it up with about 4 ounces of Miss Lollipop, who is a satin Angora. Is that not lush? Very happy with it. Look at how gorgeous that is. So, I will spin that up soonish. And we'll see how it looks finished. I wasn't that fond of the colorway prior to the Angora going on it, but I knew I would love it once it did. So I think that's it. And, yeah. We'll catch you next time.